Look around you. Someone you know personally is quietly sitting on over $1 million. Not the one with the new car, not the one posting about their portfolio, the quiet one, the ordinary one, the one you have probably never thought twice about. Here are 10 signs that person is already in your life, and 10 moves that could make you that person. Every single sign comes with a number behind it, because this is not about lifestyle. This is about math, and the math is going to change how you see the ordinary people around you. Sign 1. You drive a car that nobody looks at twice. You know that person. Same car for 7 years. Paint fading, buttons worn smooth. Everyone around them has upgraded twice since then, and every time someone sees that car, they ask the same thing. Why don't you just get a new one? That person could afford a new one. They just did the math once, and the math made the decision permanent. A $45,000 car loses $9,000 the moment it leaves the lot. Not because anything went wrong, just because it left. By year 3, it is worth around $27,600. By year 5, just under $20,000. You paid $45,000 for something worth $20,000, and you are still making payments on it. $735 a month in car payments over 10 years. That is $88,200 handed directly to a car company and a bank. Not invested. Not building anything. Gone. That same $735 a month invested at 8% for 10 years. $134,465. Same money. Completely different destination. The car is not a sacrifice. The car is a strategy. And nobody in that car park has any idea. One sign. One number. $134,465. And that is just the car. 9 more signs are coming. Each one with a number behind it, each one building toward $1.8 million. And sign 9 is the one that costs you years of failing as a millionaire. Subscribe to the community right now and turn on the notification bell, because the people who watch this channel do not just learn about wealth, they build it. Sign 2. You live in a house that does not match what people think you earn. You earn $60,000 a year. The people around you might even know that. But the house does not match it. The neighborhood is comfortable, but not impressive. The kitchen has not been renovated since you moved in. This is not because you cannot afford more. It is because you understand one thing most people never figure out. The gap between what you earn and what you spend is where wealth is built, not the salary, the gap. You earn $60,000 a year. You live on $45,000 a year. That leaves $15,000 a year you are not spending. Broken down monthly, that is $1,250 redirected every single month into something that compounds. $1,250 a month invested at 8% for 25 years becomes $1,188,783. Nothing on the outside shows what is happening on the inside. Most people close that gap the moment income rises. Every raise becomes a bigger apartment, a newer car, a better holiday. The lifestyle expands to match the income, and the gap disappears before it ever had time to compound. You keep the gap open, year after year, while the lifestyle stays modest and the accounts keep growing in silence. That is not a sacrifice. That is architecture. Sign 3. You never talk about money. You are at dinner. Someone brings up investments. Someone else mentions their portfolio. The table has opinions. You listen. You ask a question or two. You eat your food. Not because you have nothing to say, because you learned something most people learn too late or never learn at all. The moment people know what you have, they stop relating to you and start relating to what you have. The cousin you have not spoken to in 4 years finds a reason to call. The colleague who never asked about your weekend suddenly wants to grab lunch. The conversations shift, and you cannot shift them back. You keep the number in a separate room that nobody gets to walk into, not out of coldness, out of experience, out of watching what happened to someone else when the number became visible. Silence is not modesty. Silence is armor, and armor protects something worth protecting. Sign 4. You have an emergency fund that never gets touched. Something always goes wrong eventually. The car needs a repair. The boiler breaks. A month comes in short. Most people absorb these moments with their savings, and the investing stops. The quiet millionaire absorbs them with a separate emergency fund. The investing never stops. Not once. Here is why that matters more than most people realize. $5,000 withdrawn from investments at age 30 is not $5,000. At 8% annual return over 30 years, that $5,000 becomes $50,313. You did not withdraw $5,000. You withdrew $50,313 from your future. 6 months of expenses, sitting in a separate account, untouched, not for spending, for protecting the accounts that actually matter. That is the firewall that keeps everything else running without interruption. One of the least glamorous financial decisions you will ever make. One of the most powerful ones. Sign 5. You invest automatically before you see the money. Most people save what is left over at the end of the month. Nothing is ever left over. The month always finds a way to spend everything available to it. You figured this out early, not from discipline, from honesty. You stopped trusting yourself to make the right decision every month, so you removed the decision entirely. The $500 leaves before you see it, before the month starts, before any decision can be made. One automation set up years ago running quietly every single month without your involvement. $500 a month for 30 years at 8% annual return. $745,180. Not from exceptional discipline, from a system that made the right decision automatic and the wrong decision impossible. Most people invest what is left over after spending. You spend what is left over after investing. That one reversal is the difference between two completely different financial lives. The system built the wealth, not the willpower, not the intention that never became action. The system. Set it up once. Leave it alone. Let time do the rest. Sign 6. You own property nobody knows about. You bought a property when the timing did not feel perfect, not because you timed the market, because you understood the timing never feels perfect and you stopped waiting for it. A modest property, a quiet street, nothing impressive to mention at dinner, not somewhere anyone is writing articles about. $200,000 property appreciating at 4% annually for 25 years. Worth $533,167. Mortgage paid off. Rental income reinvested for years, running quietly in the background without requiring your presence to keep going. Nobody at work knows about it. It never came up. It is a house on a quiet street and not a conversation anyone would find particularly interesting. That is exactly the point. You are not looking for interesting. You are looking for consistent. Consistent cash flow, consistent appreciation, consistent compounding. The property does not need to be glamorous. It just needs to be running. Sign 7. You have more than one stream of income. You do not rely on a single paycheck. At some point you built a second stream. Quietly. No logo, no announcement, no conversation about it at any dinner you attended. Not a side hustle with a pitch deck. Something small. A skill that generates $300 to $600 a month, every dollar redirected into the index fund without touching it. $500 a month from the index fund, plus $600 a month from the second stream, both running for 20 years at 8%. $647,922. Two quiet streams, running without your constant presence, building toward a number nobody around you would guess. Your first paycheck pays for life. Your second paycheck builds the future. You built the second one before anyone thought to ask about it. Sign 8. You never upgrade for status. The phone that works gets used until it stops working. The watch tells the time and does nothing else. The jacket does its job without needing to communicate anything to anyone in the room. Every upgrade you skip is money redirected. Every status purchase avoided is a future return that nobody else can see from the outside. You stopped needing external validation a long time ago. Not because you became philosophical about materialism, because you did the math, and the math removed the desire. When you know what money becomes when you leave it alone, spending it on something that impresses someone for 3 weeks stops making any sense at all. You are not depriving yourself. You are allocating differently. And the allocation has been compounding quietly in the background while everyone else was focused on the impression. Sign 9. You reinvest every return without exception. This is the one most people get wrong, and it is the most expensive mistake on this entire list. You earn a return. Most people take it, spend it, reward themselves for being patient. You put it back in, every time, without thinking about it, without exception. Here is what that decision actually costs when you get it wrong. $10,000 invested at 8% for 20 years, with returns reinvested, becomes $46,610. $10,000 with returns taken out and spent becomes $26,000. Same amount, same 20 years. The difference is $20,610 that came entirely from leaving the returns alone. Simple interest grows in a straight line. Compound interest grows exponentially. The moment you take the return out, you switch from the curve to the line, and you can never get back the years that line already cost you. Every dividend, every gain, all of it back in. No exceptions, ever. That single habit is the engine underneath everything else on this list. Without it, nothing else compounds the way it should. Sign 10. You started before you felt ready. You did not wait. That is it. That is the whole sign. $200 a month at age 22, invested at 8% until age 60. $590,862. Same $200 a month, starting at age 32. $249,713. From 10 years. From starting before it felt worth starting. The timing never felt perfect. The amount never felt large enough. You started anyway. On an ordinary day. Without ceremony. Without telling anyone. 30 years later, the accounts say everything that day never did. You do not have to be a $10 million millionaire. You do not have to be a $100 million millionaire. You just have to make the moves. These 10 moves. Consistently. Quietly. For long enough. That is what makes you a millionaire. Not the salary, not the lucky break, the math, the right investments, the right decisions made in the right order over enough time. You are the quiet millionaire your neighbor does not know about. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell. You do not want to miss the next one. Drop a comment and tell me which of these 10 signs you are already doing. I read every single one. See you in the next one.